Night was we didn't play with any poise. I don't know if it was the terrific environment in there. If we were just, I don't know if it was down 0-2. I don't know what the deal was, but I thought they really played with poise and in control. We did not, and I thought that was the biggest difference in the game. Our effort was great. We played really hard, but we got to play better. We got to play better, and we've said it over and over. It's an 8-point game at the end of the day, and there's so many possessions that we threw away.
He says the poise wasn't good. You guys say the poise wasn't good. I agree with you, but at the same time, we have to find a way to win the game. We're down 3 with a minute to go. We didn't get the ball back. They shot a shot. They got the offensive rebound, and I feel like that was the game.
The key, whether it's in the open court.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that because I'm sure he reads this stuff, so I can't tell you what we're trying to do with him. That's giving it away.
Sure. Let me.
We're still trying to work on some stuff to take stuff away, but I just can't come out and tell you what we're trying to take away.
Okay. Well, let me.
Definitely been working.
You feel? Yeah. I mean, we're trying to ask. I just can't sit here and tell you. I mean, we're just trying to make it physical. Trying to make it physical.
Sure.
Not trying to make him feel comfortable. Just be physical with him. He's a physical player. He doesn't. So most likely, physical guys don't like the physical type of game to come back at him. So we're just trying to make it physical and go from there. Challenge the shots, challenge the jump shots, and we'll go from there.
We're back here for part 2. This is a Celtics Post Game Show, so we should probably talk about the Celtics now. Let's start with Isaiah Thomas. He's the most important player on this team, except for tonight, where he barely played. He only played 21 minutes in this game, went 2 for 9 from the field. And we'll hear in Boxing Out how many free throw attempts he had from somebody here. Sir, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm not Julian, by the way. It's a new person. Just thought maybe you should let them know.
It's really funny. I didn't even tell you about this, but we actually already did that joke in the first part.
Oh, you did?
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Okay, so go ahead. What do you got?
No, that was it. That's all I wanted to know.
No Isaiah Thomas analysis?
Nope. Just want everyone to know who I was, and I'm good. I'm going to get out of here.
So Zack Hawks of NESN.com. Why don't you talk to me about Isaiah Thomas? What the heck happened tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't have it. It was how Brad Stevens described it. But yeah, I mean, he was 2 for 9, but we've seen him have games where he hasn't shot the ball particularly well, and he still manages to make an impact. I mean, to spoil my number for later in the segment, he only got to the line 2 times in this whole game. Yeah, sorry guys, spoiler alert. Yikes. But yeah, only got to the line 2 times. That was really where he was kind of making his living earlier in this series. He got to the line, I believe, 5 times the other game, 9 or 10 in game 1.
He went 10 for 10 in game 2, so
yes,
it's a bit of a drop off.
Yeah, so I mean, he wasn't there at all. He barely played at all down the stretch. I believe he only played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, and it's not like it was garbage time either. It was when they were in the midst of that comeback that they almost came back and took the lead. He didn't play at all. They were rolling a lot with Evan Turner, who did have a good game. He had 19 points, almost a triple-double. But yeah, I mean, I think it's to spin this in a positive sense. Celtics only lost by 8, and Thomas had one of his worst games that he's had with this team. I guess you could look at it as a positive that way for the rest of the team. But, I mean, with this team, unless Isaiah really takes it over, they're not going to win any games in this series.
I'm going to unravel your spin there because I see the major issue here is that the Cavs finally figured out how to trap Isaiah on the pick and roll. Yep. And that was a big thing is he was getting pick and rolls and he was just getting the head of steam, flying through the paint. Now, a lot of the time when he flies through the paint, he jumps up and then he says, uh-oh, I can't take the shot. So he throws it to someone in the stands, hopefully somebody on the perimeter. It's kind of a little bit inconsistent there. But tonight, he just couldn't get in the lane, just couldn't get into the paint, never was able to draw that contact because he's just so fast that bigs can't react to it. And the big thing we were seeing is that when he was able to break through the perimeter, the guys in the post for the Cleveland were able to kind of push him out. And so instead of him driving right at them, he was taking fadeaways on the baseline, all sorts of shots that he doesn't want to be taking. I don't think I can really remember him getting more than like 1 or 2 decent layup attempts off, or at least the wacky layup attempts that he usually hits, Jimmy.
The only layups he was getting was when he made, he's an extremely quick player. When he was too quick for the defender, he would get a nice lane. But yeah, they were collapsing on him. He didn't have many good looks tonight. This is a problem. There's no positive spin on Isaiah Thomas's awful night. And after the game, he zipped on out of that locker room. He's not in a good mood. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that he didn't play well or the fact that he didn't get that many minutes. He didn't play until very late in the third quarter, and he only played, I think, in the beginning of the fourth quarter. So, I mean, this guy, he's the type of player that he needs to be in the game if he's going to get anything going. He's a guy that can get hot quickly. If he doesn't get into any rhythm, yeah, he's not going to get to the line. He's not going to get to the hoop. He needs one of those guys. I think he really needs to see the ball go into the basket and get that confidence. But yeah, if he's not going to get things going offensively, we already know, because we've seen the Celtics before Isaiah Thomas, they don't have enough offense. They don't have enough guys they can turn to score you a quick 5, 7, 8 points all in a row like that. In the beginning of his tenure with the Celtics, he was that guy. He was coming in there and he was like, who is this guy? This guy's coming out of nowhere, and he just scored 12 points off the bench in a matter of 5 minutes. Well, that needs to continue in the playoffs, and Brad Stevens isn't sticking with him through the rough shooting or through the poor defense or to the fact that maybe he can't keep KYRIE Irving in front of him, or he is a liability on the defensive end there. Brad Stevens is going with Crowder, who's earning those minutes. I mean, you can't say that Thomas should be playing over Crowder. I mean, it would be nice if you can get them both in there. But right now, I mean, or at least in this game, Thomas just couldn't get the job done. And I think he's the type of guy that could let that bother him going forward. Yeah,
I can definitely see that. I think it kind of played into the fact the way that they approached the third quarter when they went in with Crowder and Jerebko straight out of halftime, and they were kind of really trying to keep that like street fight mentality that they had going on there in the second. And Thomas doesn't really figure into that kind of scheme too much. I mean, they were just brawling people on defense. They were getting all those. I think they forced 4 jump balls. They were just contesting everything.
That was really cool.
Mozgov needs to work on it. Like, I need to skip bicep day or something. He should be able to rip the ball from Avery Bradley.
Yeah, but I mean, you see, because Thomas doesn't really. That's not really his bag. Like he's kind of. Obviously, he's like the small, quick, offensive power scorer like that, but
he does bring that mentality on offense.
He brings the mentality on offense, but he can't contribute. If you have all those kind of defensive-minded guys there, and him, I mean, I guess they can cover up for him, but he's not going to add to that, to what they were trying to do there in the third.
Okay. I just think he needs to play because he's the guy who can score. Like when Crowder's in there, great. He's a great defensive energy guy. Same with Avery Bradley, but I don't trust these guys as much as I trust him. Even though he had an off night, I still would rather him shoot the ball than those guys.
So 2 things. One, on that jump ball with Avery Bradley, I thought it was superhuman that Avery Bradley somehow held onto the ball while Mozgov is like flailing like crazy. I couldn't believe that Bradley pulled it. That was amazing.
It was a rough game for Mozgov.
Mozgov
got elbowed in the
mental
throat.
Mental midget for Mozgov tonight, man. He was all over the place.
Okay, so part 2, Jae Crowder is pissed off. He's been getting increasingly frustrated.
Good.
He was talking a big fight game right before the playoffs started. Really frustrated after game 2. Today he got confrontational with reporters who, to be fair, were kind of asking bad questions in the press conference tonight. I'll call it out. But he seems like the only guy that seems very pissed off right now on the Celtics, and he's the one playing like it.
There should be 15 pissed off guys. You know what I mean? Like he's the exact prototype attitude that you have to have in the postseason. When you look at the Chicago Bulls when they play the Cleveland Cavaliers, what do? They beat the crap out of LeBron James. They hack him, they foul him, to the point where after the game, David, the head coach, LeBron, the players, they're complaining, basically saying, what's going on here? Why is this guy getting treated this way? Well, the Celtics need to do that too. And Crowder's the one guy, I think, who kind of feels that way as well. Like I want Turner to be more physical. They need to be more physical. They need to be more mad. They need to punch these guys in the mouth, metaphorically speaking, if they want to have a shot in this series, especially now they're down 3-0.
I mean,
they're not going to do it on talent.
They can do it literally at this point. They can punch him in the mouth because it's not like you have to worry about getting suspended if you lose game 4.
Yeah.
Well, the hope is that you don't lose.
Well, yes, obviously.
But no, I mean, Crowder's been like this basically since day one.
Yeah.
I remember he had a quote, it was way back in December or January. It was like 2 weeks after he got here, where he was talking about how Stevens has to hold players accountable. And we were like, people are like, who's this guy? Like he just showed up. He's
you're right.
It was like his second or third game at TD Garden, I think, and he was talking after the game about these guys need to be held accountable. They need to have he's like, and I do too. He wasn't calling people out, but he brings that kind of competitive fire, that kind of lunch pail attitude that people love around the city. I mean, he's going to be, if he comes back next year, he's going to be a stud. People are going to love him, but the team needs more people like that, especially when you're playing a team like the Cavs that are just so much better in almost every facet of the game. You need to bring that hustle, that grittiness, that kind of nastiness, like they had in the second quarter, which was awesome. I mean, they were punching them in the mouth in the second quarter. You had those hard fouls. You had that mini scuffle with the hold me back, bro, kind of things going on. Yeah. And, I mean, that's what they need to do because they're not going to – if they try to beat these guys straight up, it's just not going to happen.
I tweeted this. I'm going to reuse it. I think Crowder's the type of guy that he can win multiple championships in the NBA because winning teams want a guy like that on their team. He's not the guy that's going to carry your team to the championship, but he's the exact guy you want to come in, whether it's off the bench or starting the second half, to provide the energy, the hustle, the grit, kind of like the Tony Allen type guy. You know what I mean? And some people compare him to James Posey, and Posey won multiple championships. He's that type of player where winning teams want those types of guys because they bring that attitude and that style that they look for in the postseason. That's oftentimes the difference in the postseason. Aside from talent, you just have to have that mentality of like you are not going to lose this game. And if more players had that mentality on the Celtics, maybe they aren't down 3-0. Maybe it's 2-1.
Hashtag winning. I want to dive into this more, but we got to move this along. But there's definitely a lot more to discuss here with Crowder, who I think is his entrance to this team changed everything.
And who would have thought Jae Crowder would play more playoff games this year than Rajon Rondo?
I mean, it's only because he has a good back. If he had Rondo's back injury,
that's only it.
Good Lord. So quickly, we got to talk about that booty of Tristan Thompson. The guy's backing it up. And he's getting those offensive rebounds. And there was no trouble for him at the end of this game because Tristan was throwing passes off of those offensive rebounds, getting the honky assists on those two key threes. Two key threes, I can count, to Kevin Love there late in the game that basically kind of shut the door on the Celtics there. Every single game, Tristan Thompson, his offensive rebounding has been what has ended the game for Boston.
Yep.
It's incredible. I don't really remember guy. I mean, he had a good overall game tonight, but I don't remember a guy that kind of just all of a sudden shows up at the end of the game and makes these massive offensive rebound plays. You never really see that happening, Zach.
Yeah, no, tonight was kind of different from the first two games. It's kind of gone. It's a bit of a progression. The first game, offensive rebounds were a huge problem all game. It was like Celtics weren't even close. They were just getting manhandled all over the place. Game two, they were good in the first half. The Celtics had a 9-1 edge in the first half in offensive rebounds in game two. Then down the stretch, it got a little shaky. And tonight, I really don't feel like it was that big of an issue most of the night until right there at the very end. And those were two of the biggest plays of the game because that's really what put them away at the end. I
was going to just say, it seemed like at the biggest moments, that's when they came up with the offensive rebound, and it seemed like they made the Celtics pay for it too. And Thompson, I mean, this isn't a guy that's coming out of nowhere. He was a legit sixth man for them this year, and he got a decent amount of votes in the award for sixth man of the year. And he's the type of guy that he steps up and he embraces his role if he knows that that's what they want him to do. He's not getting plays drawn out for him. He knows that it's going to LeBron, it's going to KYRIE, it's going to Love. But if he can create those second chances, then he's doing his job. And he after the game, everybody on his team gave him credit for those. And LeBron James specifically pointed out to the rebounds that he got for them tonight. So, job well done. Yeah,
Avery Bradley said that Tristan Thompson has been the reason that the Cavs have won these last two games. Yeah. I mean, LeBron might have something to say about that, but the point's taken. I mean, he's been massive. He's been the X factor in this series.
Right.
Yeah, let's go to box and ball. So I'll start over here because my boxing out stat of the night, not too hard to guess. Offensive rebounds for Tristan Thompson. He had 5 of them tonight. Continues to dominate late in the game. So let's move this to you, Jim.
My boxing out is Brandon Bass's stat line: 2 of 3, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Just a very quiet night for him. If you had a little louder game 2. Just you hope to get a little bit more from your starting forward.
Yep. Like I said before, I kind of spoiled mine. I was going to go with the Isaiah Thomas free throws. He needs to get to the line for this team to be good. But I'm also going to point out that Kelly Olynyk only played 2 minutes and 40 seconds tonight. Didn't really get an answer as to why that was after the game. I thought he played relatively well in the first 2 games, but it's interesting to see if he'll get more of a run in game 4.
And I was talking to some people yesterday. Thought he was probably going to start in this game. He doesn't even play in this game. Guess it shows they just want to get up there physically more than just getting 3-point shooting, spacing, whatever. It's really just about bringing that grit and grind that they talked about so much this year.
And I think real quick, what Stevens alluded to was the fact that Datome while he's not an NBA veteran per se of that many years, he is a professional. He's been around the pros, obviously in Italy for a very long time. So he might be a little bit more built for the moment or the big stage.
Okay, so I assume Kelly Olynyk was not your baller of the night then.
He was not my baller of the night. My baller of the night's it's LeBron. It's always LeBron. Tristan Thompson's an A- just for those last 2 games. I mean, those last 2 plays, rather. But no, it's LeBron. And most games the Cavs win, it's going to be LeBron.
It's LeBron, but for the sake of just keeping it interesting, I'm going to say Kevin Love. 6 3-pointers tonight. the Celtics would, every time they tried to cheat and put 2 men on LeBron, they'd swing the ball, they'd find Love, and he'd drain the 3 to make him pay for it. And he hit the dagger shot tonight to put them up 8 with like 30 seconds left in the game. So he'll get my asterisk baller of the night.
Okay, well, those are the 2 obvious choices. So I'm sorry, that sounded like a dick call. Those are the 2 best choices.
Yeah, screw you, dude.
I'll give credit to J.R. Smith then. I feel like we've pretty much trampled J.R. Smith's reputation on the show in the past year. Even
Most people have.
It feels like a long time ago, but the first playoff Garden reports that we did was sitting at the podium after J.R. Smith spoke. When his career basically fell apart and the Celtics ended up losing to the Knicks. It's kind of a long way that we've come, a long way that J.R. Smith has come.
We've probably come a little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit. But he hit some big shots tonight. The Celtics, their game plan has been to give him those shots, try to take him away from KYRIE. And that was fine until tonight because he started to actually hit them. So that was pretty huge during the second and third quarter. So let's wrap this one up. We will be back on Sunday for Game 4. We will see if the Celtics can push elimination off for another game, probably. I don't know. Maybe they'll come back here for April 30th.
It'll have to be
game
another
6.
2 games if we want another show.
That's true.
Yeah.
So for Zach and Jimmy, I'm Jared. I want to thank our sponsors, Audible, the best online resource for audiobooks, lynda.com, the best online resource for educational videos, Peak Organic Brewing, the best organic brewing beer in this side of the Mississippi, and frankly, my new favorite beer. Get that Nut Brown Ale. It's the official beer of the Garden Report. And of course, Reached. You can actually look in the description of this video on YouTube, and you can find the link to download Reached and use the CLNS group to take our polls on this playoff series. So that's going to do it for us here from the Garden. We will see you on Sunday on the Garden Report.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see at the end of the series, right? And I'll be better able to say it, and I want to get ready to go and want to make sure that we play as well as possible for however many games we have left. But obviously number 23 is one. And then, I thought they made some, and obviously they've got other very talented guys, right? I thought Love made huge shots. I thought Irving made huge shots. And then J.R. Smith, he went to a different level than he's been in the first 2 games. So I think all of those guys, and then you add in the Thompsons and the rebounders and all those guys. So you got all these guys that are good players around the superstars, and they just become better when they're around them. And that's what that's what the great ones do. They make everybody else rise up.
I'm shocked nobody's asking me about JR tonight. I'm just shocked. Wasn't he great?
I'm going to ask you about JR.
Oh, hey, thanks.
I mean, he was struggling. He was taking a lot of the shots that he usually takes in the first 2 games. Tonight they're sinking. He's a guy that when he's come to Boston on occasion, he has really gotten amped and stepped up, hit those shots. I mean, did you see anything from him before the game, during the game, that seemed like he had something in his eye?
We had practice today at 10. JR took a cab over here at 9 and shot the ball. Somebody asked me before the game what I said to JR, about his 3 for 15 performance until now. I said shoot, because that's what he needs to do. He's a great shooter. He's a money shooter. He's a guy that takes responsibility. He's been good at both ends. He took his shots tonight, and they were huge. Every one of them.